Josh Hasten here, Israel Uncensored, on the Land of Israel Network at thelandofisrael.com. It is Monday, the 17th of June, 2019, the 14th of Sivan, 5779. Hope you're doing well in your part of the world. Don't forget, you can always get in touch with me. Josh at thelandofisrael.com is my email. On Facebook, it is Joshua Hasten, or my new page, Josh Hasten, Israel Advocacy and Journalism. On Twitter at Josh Hasten, and now on Instagram as well. I am here in Jerusalem, the capital of the state of Israel and the eternal capital of the Jewish people. We're going to get to some news here, and hopefully in a few minutes we'll be going down to Sderot. Just the other day, a terrorist-fired rocket made a direct hit on the Hesder Yeshiva in Sderot. For those of you who know me, know that I spent 3 years very frequently down in Sderot doing some PR work for that very institution, the Hesder there. They've had close calls in the past, miraculous close calls, I would say, rockets landing near or on their campus. And here's another incident, a direct hit on a building on the yeshiva, the Hesder Yeshiva campus. Thank God, no injuries. So if all the technology is working, we'll be speaking to Rabbi Dovid Fendel, the head of that institution, in just a few minutes. But first, we'll start with the news. Reported by the Jerusalem Post, Radi Nasser, the mayor of Deir Qadis, a Palestinian, so-called Palestinian town west of Ramallah, is facing strong condemnations for inviting Jewish, what they call settlers, to the wedding of his son. The Palestinian ruling Fatah faction decided to expel the mayor from its ranks, has called on the PA security forces to launch an investigation against those who were seen celebrating with the Jews during the wedding. So here you have a wedding in a PA town. I'm not exactly sure how the Israelis or the Jews got into the town in the first place, because of the big red signs which warn you that it is dangerous to go into those areas and against Israeli law. Maybe they have dual citizenship. I don't know what the story is, but the bottom line is, and it happens often here, you have industrial zones where Arabs and Jews work together in Judea and Samaria, and when a Jew has a simcha, happy occasion, and invites his Arab colleague, because that occasion perhaps takes place in Area C, the Arabs can attend. However, if the Arab invites the Jew to attend his simcha, his family wedding or whatever it is, normally the Jew cannot attend. In this case, somehow those Israelis, those Jews, were able to attend the wedding, but Fatah is going crazy over the fact that Arabs and Jews were celebrating this wedding together. That's why I tell people there's a relative coexistence here. You're talking about, of course, the best example is that Rami Levy supermarket in Gush Etzion at the Gush Junction, where Arabs and Jews work and shop together, yet the auto body shop next door, where Arabs and Jews also work together, the Jews cannot go to the events of the happy occasions of their colleagues. Yet in this case, this is the epitome of the situation here, where Fatah is, who knows what they're going to do to this mayor, who knows what they're going to do to those Arabs who were at the wedding and were seen dancing with Jews. That is their crime. They danced at a wedding with Jews. The pictures were spread somehow on social media. You had images of a number of Jews being carried on the shoulders of some of the Arab men, and this, of course, drawing strong condemnation from many, especially there in the Fatah, or the Palestinian Authority. The J-Post says that Palestinian social media users expressed shock over the presence of the Israelis at the wedding, accused the mayor and his son, who is the groom, of treason. Bottom line, PA does not want any type of normalcy. The PA must go. The PA must go, and we'll talk about that in just a minute here. Minister Gilad Erdan at the Jerusalem Post conference saying essentially that, for everybody's sake, the Palestinian Authority must go. The mayor, of course, here, whose son got married, denied he and his son had anything to do with it, denied that they invited any Jews. because the guy wants to keep his head, literally. Who knows what the Palestinian Authority will do to this mayor, his son, their family, and anybody else seen in these pictures. That is the reality. That is the Palestinian Authority for you. They want nothing to do with the Jews. That is the bottom line. So here you have, right now, or yesterday rather, Sunday, the Jerusalem Post Conference was held, the annual conference in New York City. Minister Gilad Erdan, Minister of Strategic Affairs, says it's time for Mahmoud Abbas to go. Remember, Mahmoud Abbas, I think, is in his, 14th year of a 4-year term. The international community must take immediate steps to oust PA Chairman Mahmoud Abbas in order to advance the diplomatic process, Strategic Affairs Minister Gilad Erdan said Sunday in his speech at the J-Post conference. Erdan noted that Abbas recently said that if the PA had 1 cent, it would pay that 1 cent to the families of those who martyred themselves murdering Jews and those in prison for committing acts of terror against Israeli civilians. And you're seeing that reality. Any money, any spare change that they have, well, it's not just spare change, it's their top priority. Their top priority is to pay terrorists, support terrorists and their families. You can go online and see a chart. I don't know exactly where you can find it, but there is a chart out there which I've seen before which essentially encourages these terror attacks and lets the terrorists know if you kill 1 Jew, you get X amount of money for the rest of your life. 2 Jews, you get more, and on and on and on. If you injure a Jew, you get 1 amount. If you get caught in the process and you go to jail without injuring a Jew, you get a less amount, but you get a stipend for the rest of your life. So the PA has to go once and for all. I agree with Gilad Erdan on that note. I do not agree if we're talking about any type of diplomatic process which would lead towards Israeli land concessions. We've gone down that path before. Gaza is the perfect example. No matter what happens in future talks, negotiations, how about we say, we'll let you live here in peace and quiet, as we always wanted to do, if you just stop your terror and leave us alone and raise your families and go to work like many Arabs do. But you have those who would rather dedicate their entire existence and all of their waking hours to destroying the Jewish state of Israel. But that doesn't mean we have to give away any land or evacuate any Jews from Jewish communities in Judea and Samaria. Also recommended by Gilad Erdan in his speech was, in fact, to apply Israeli law to the Jewish communities in Judea and Samaria, which he called legal, moral, and logical. I agree with him there as well. We should annex, apply sovereignty, whatever you want to call it, to all the communities of Judea and Samaria. There's no reason that the Jews who live in these areas, like myself, have to feel like a second-class citizen. And when you want to build a pergola on your house, you essentially have to get an IDF approval for that pergola, whereas in the rest of the country, you just go down to the local building authority with your plans from your architect, and they approve it right then and there. It doesn't involve international negotiations or politics or what have you in order to build a pergola. That is the reality of life in Judea and Samaria. No more of that. As Erdan says, there's no reason that hundreds of thousands of Israeli citizens need to live under Ottoman or British laws, which are still in effect in Judea and Samaria, just because Abu Mazen, Mahmoud Abbas, has chosen terror and a boycott of Israel instead of peace. So that's from the J-Post conference there in New York yesterday. However, that's Gilad Erdan. At the same time, you have the Shin Bet, Israel Security Agency Director Nadav Argaman, who met with the Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas to try to convince him to accept partial customs payments to end an economic crisis, reported by Channel 12 this past weekend. Israel and the PA have been in a standoff over the 600 million shekel in customs payments per month, which the Jewish state generally collects on the PA's behalf and transfers to the Palestinian Authority. You can question from the beginning why we're doing that. But in April, the PA refused to accept any transfers, any money, unless the Israeli government agreed to transfer 100% of the payments which is supposed to collect on the PA's behalf. Israel, of course, said that it would no longer transfer the same amount the PA pays to the terrorists and their families. So now the PA is saying, well, if you're not going to pay us the full amount, if you're going to make any deductions, then just keep it. So you have the head of the Shin Bet trying to sweet talk, as it says here, the J Post, the PA president, into taking the vast majority of the money. So I am asking here, my question is this for real? Is our Shin Bet actually going and meeting with Mahmoud Abbas and begging him to take some of the money? I mean, here you have a guy who operates a pay-for-slay program. Israel decided enough is enough. We're going to deduct the funds. And they say they're not going to take any money, and our security forces are begging them to take the money so that the PA does not collapse. Okay, most Israeli defense officials regard the collapse of the PA, it says here, as a worst-case scenario, which could lead to a Hamas takeover in the, what they call West Bank, which in turn would endanger Israeli security far more than Hamas's takeover of Gaza in 2007. Let me ask you this, though. If you're not aware, who has killed more Jews, Israelis, over the years? Hamas or Fatah, the Palestinian Authority, Fatah, the ruling party there? The answer is Fatah. Okay, I looked into it. I did my homework. And Fatah has killed more Jews. One of the first Israelis murdered during the Oslo War, what some call the Second Intifada, was when a Fatah or Palestinian Authority policeman turned his gun on his Israeli counterpart. Fatah cannot be trusted. And I don't buy this logic that, well, if you don't bolster the PA, then you'll get Hamas. As if Hamas is worse than the PA, because now what we're saying in Gaza, as we allow Qatari payments into Gaza to bolster Hamas, we're saying there, well, if you overthrow Hamas, you could get something worse. You could get some Islamic Jihad organization or ISIS or who knows what. I don't subscribe to the logic that you have to bolster one terror organization because you think, or the perception is, that another one is worse. I don't buy it, and that's my proof. My proof is the fact that the Palestinian Authority, Fatah, PLO, whatever you want to call them, all their branches, have murdered more Israelis than even Hamas. So I don't buy it. I would side here with Gilad Erdan in calling for the Palestinian Authority head Mahmoud Abbas to be removed, and in my opinion, the PA to be shut down entirely, and without worrying about, Hamas is going to be worse. There are plenty of anti-Israel, anti-Semitic terror organizations out there, and some of them wear suits, some of their leaders wear suits, and some of them wear plain clothes, some of them wear uniforms. It doesn't matter. All those terror groups who want to seek Israel's destruction, we should not be talking to them, negotiating with them, trying to pick one side over the other. I mean, that was the premise of Oslo. We were going to fund and arm the PA to fight Hamas. When did they ever do that? When did they take on Hamas? So I don't believe, even if there is some type of limited security coordination, I don't think that's foolproof. I think that could backfire on us. I am not in favor of begging Mahmoud Abbas to take money, even partial customs payments from Israel. I'm against that. In other news, on Sunday, a big ceremony was held in the Golan Heights as a sign was put up for the dedication of a new community in the Golan, honoring President Donald Trump for everything he's done, particularly recognizing Israel's rights to the Golan. The new community is going to be called Ramat Trump Heights. That is the new community slated. I don't know when it will be built. I heard all different types of rumors that there was already a plan for a community there, and now they're just renaming it Ramat Trump Heights, and they'll start building there. Others are saying no, it's just a sign at this point, and there isn't really a community in the works there. The approvals aren't there. They don't have a plan, so I don't know what the reality is, but there definitely was a ceremony with, in Hebrew it's called Hakarat Atov. I don't know the literal translation, Hakarat Atov. Maybe out there you could help me with that. Basically saying thank you to the Trump administration for everything they've done until this point, and I hope it continues. I hope there are no surprises whenever this deal of the century is released, and who knows when that's going to be, now that Israel's going back to the elections. But you had the prime minister yesterday holding the cabinet meeting in the Golan with Ambassador Friedman and many other esteemed dignitaries there. Big sign, Ramat Trump, Trump Heights. You can go up to the Golan, as an Israeli and American flag there on the sign, thanking the president for everything he's done. And from what I understand, President Trump went on Twitter yesterday evening and thanked Israel and Prime Minister Netanyahu for that honor. Just one other story here before we go to break, and then if everything checks out, Rabbi Fendel from Sderot. 16, this is reported by the Jewish press, 16 GOP members of Congress last week sent a letter to Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey demanding that he remove, quote, all content promoting terrorist activity and ban senior Hamas officials and associates from Twitter who radicalize individuals to incite violence against Israelis. So apparently Hezbollah has been banned from Twitter, ISIS has been banned from Twitter, but Hamas is still there. Why is Hamas still there? Well, I mean, perhaps it's because of Israel. Perhaps the fact that Israel continues, whether directly or indirectly, to negotiate with Hamas to essentially recognize their rule in Gaza, allowing money, Qatari money into Gaza, perhaps that's the reason they have a degree of legitimacy. So what can Israel do? I say stop any type of these negotiations which lead to these fake and phony ceasefires. Stop talking to Hamas and deal with Hamas as need be, a terror organization. Maybe that will work in causing the world, in the world of Twitter, to stop legitimizing Hamas and take down their social media and their hate speech and everything else. I think it has to start with Israel. That is my ultimate point. Anyway, we're going to take a break right now. You're listening to Israel Uncensored on the Land of Israel Network at thelandofisrael.com for Monday, the 17th of June, 2019. It is the 14th of Sivan, 5779. Hope you're doing well in your part of the world. Short break, and we will come right back with more.
This week on Inside Israel Today on the Land of Israel Network on thelandofisrael.com, Gil Hoffman will speak about whether Netanyahu has entered a political minefield in the repeat election. And he will interview Einad Wilf, former member of Knesset from the Labor Party, about whether the Labor Party is doomed to die and whether there will be a three-peat election. Listen to Inside Israel Today on the Land of Israel Network on thelandofisrael.com.
And we are back. Josh Hasten here, Israel Uncensored on the Land of Israel Network at thelandofisrael.com. It is Monday, the 17th of June, 2019, the 14th of Sivan, 5779. If you've been following the news over the last couple days, you know that terror organizations in Gaza have once again launched rockets at Israeli communities. There was a rocket launched this past Wednesday night, and then on Thursday night, a rocket scored a direct hit on one of the buildings belonging to the yeshiva, the Hesder Yeshiva, in the town of Sderot. So we're going to go to the phone right now and speak to the head of the Hesder Yeshiva in Sderot, good friend of the show, Rabbi Dovid Fendel. Rabbi Fendel, thanks so much for joining us today.
Good morning. Thank you.
If you can, let us know what exactly happened there on Thursday. I know that you've had some close calls in the past with rockets raining down near your campus, on your campus, and thank God you've had miracles in the past, and it looks like another miracle, since thank God nobody was injured in this latest rocket attack. If you can, describe exactly what happened this past Thursday evening.
This is the closest. There's a direct hit on the Yeshivat Hesder's building. Thank God most of the guys were away for Shabbos because they were here for Chag HaShavuot, and they were here the Shabbos before, 21 days. So most of them went home. If not, God forbid, there were two boys right where the Qassam rocket hit. and thank God the building is protected. It's a matter of centimeters. Miracles don't always happen. We can't rely on miracles, and there's something wrong happening here. And even in the media, everybody spoke about it Thursday night and Friday morning, and then everything was forgotten, as if we live with this. It is unbelievable, and really it's something that can't continue. I think we have to go back to the northern part, at least, of the Gaza Strip. That's where Eli Sinai, Nisanit, we evacuated it. We ran away, and we thought that we run away, they'd run further. Instead, they run closer, and they just follow us. And we have to go back to those areas. It's the Hamas land right now. There's no reason that we shouldn't hurt the Palestinians in the hardest place, and that's by taking back land.
For people who don't know, I mean, this has now been going on for 19 years, since 2001. That's when the first rocket started raining. And then, of course, Israel pulled out of Gaza. We left Gush Katif and the northern communities in Gaza, the Jewish communities, in 2005. And then the rockets really started coming down. There was an increase by 500%. Right after that, and then Hamas took over. And here you have a situation today. I mean, how can you describe this? How's it fathomable that you have an entire generation of kids who have grown up now under rocket fire, and now we're already in the second generation of kids?
Well, the Palestinians really were convinced that they would turn Sderot into a ghost town. We're not letting them. We're turning it into a capital of Zionism and Torah. They tried to destroy. They can't keep up with the pace of all the beautiful building that's going on. They tried to break our spirit. They didn't realize it's unbreakable and it's invincible and thousands of years old. They're building tunnels. We're building parks. They're flying kites, and we're building skyscrapers. They're not going to succeed. And that's the major message that's coming out of Sderot, is building, growing, young families moving in, and nurseries that are being opened up. It's on unbelievable numbers. And the real estate's booming, and the city is thriving. That's one picture, and that's a beautiful picture, and it's true. But there really is another picture, and we can't forget the hundreds of families here that suffer miscarriages, that there's trauma, that their children are going through psychological problems, that their whole life has been is filled with, unfortunately, fear that causes other fears. And these type of phenomena are the victims of terror, and it's something that in a proud Israeli country shouldn't be happening. There's a lot of warmth and a lot of love that we feel from the entire country and the entire Jewish world. And now is really the time to thank all those great people that helped us protect the building, and here it saved lives. But at the same time, something is wrong. And I think that we have to consider, first of all, we have to return our missing soldiers. That's something that it can't be that they're taken hostage in the Gaza Strip right over here, and we continue to give them electricity. It can't be we continue to give them water. It can't be that we allow their leaders to roam freely when they're trying to kill us. It's something we can't forget. Just 72 hours ago, they tried to kill. They tried to kill, and it could have been a mass tragedy. And we just continue as if nothing happened because they missed. Doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. If you can, Rabbi, tell us, where were you exactly when the rocket hit the yeshiva building? We
have two big yeshiva buildings, and I was in the other one, learning Daf Yomi, and I got a phone call, and I ran right to that. Right as it happened, I ran to our other Beit Midrash, and we saw the kids that were in the building, the soldiers and boys that are learning, and they were shooken up. But there was a lot of thanking God, and it's something that at one point on one side, we're very thankful to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we're proud to be Sderot citizens, and we have the ambivalent feelings at the same time that we have to stop this. It can't continue.
How extensive was the damage? I just want to explain again. You mentioned it, but the two buildings, the two big buildings which you have, the Beit Midrash and Sderot, and the other branch, these are actually rocket-proof buildings. If people haven't been down there, you should definitely visit it's an unbelievable thing. I mean, where else in the world do you have buildings which are rocket-proof? That's how they were built, with tons and tons of concrete. But nevertheless, I saw the images from the pictures. There was, in fact, some damage. I mean, how extensive was the damage?
For us, it's very important to build beautiful edifices and beautiful yeshivot, and it has beautiful Jerusalem stones and glass. So all that, of course, a lot of it was, so of course the rocket smashed the stone and shattered the windows. That's all very easily repairable. And we're going back to a lot of beautiful learning and giving and contributing to the city and contributing to society.
Will there be any type of celebratory, thanking God, any type of ceremony, since nobody was injured and it was another miracle? I remember the time when the rocket landed, I think it was back in 2006, just outside your office, and you had a miracle and the rocket did not explode. And that's even before you had the protected buildings. Is there going to be some type of ceremony after this latest incident?
So far we didn't fix it yet, and we're planning, and it's important that people see it, and people are invited to come down and see for yourselves. And we're trying to invite leaders of the country so that they could see that there are hundreds of boys here, and everybody needs protection, and it's not a proper way of managing a city and managing a country. And at the same time, we're definitely going to want to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu and find the proper ways.
Rabbi, if people want to learn more about your amazing institution, Yeshivat Hesder in Sderot, if people want to visit you down in Sderot, what is the best way to reach you? How can we make that happen for people who want to come down?
So first of all, online, I have all information. My cell phone is 052-6071-348, and gladly welcome. And it's important. It's important to come down, see what's happening, and see the beautiful strength and resilience of this great town and our great country. And it's very inspiring. And we need also your support and help and love and friendship.
If anybody else...
That's 052-6071-348.
And if anybody wants me to connect them to Rabbi Fendel, I'd be happy to do so. Rabbi, it's great to hear from you. It's great to hear that everyone down there is safe in the yeshiva, and it wasn't worse. And I know that whatever damage was done, everything can be rebuilt. And thank God no one was injured in this attack. And please God, it'll stay quiet down there, and everyone will be safe in Sderot and throughout the Western Negev and all the communities surrounding Gaza. So thanks so much for your time, and be safe and keep up the great work you're doing.
Thank you very much. Yisher koach.
And that is going to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen, for Monday, the 17th of June, 2019, the 14th of Sivan, 5779. This is Israel Uncensored on the Land of Israel Network at thelandofisrael.com. Get in touch with me during the week, Josh at thelandofisrael.com. On Facebook, it's Joshua Hasten, or my new page, Josh Hasten, Israel Advocacy and Journalism. On Twitter, at Josh Hasten, and now on Instagram as well. Big thank you to Ben Bresky, for all the work he does to get these shows up, as well as Tabitha Epstein, who does all the work behind the scenes. Everybody out there in the wonderful world of ours, we just brought you the story from the front lines of Sderot, whether you're in Sderot or anywhere else you are in the wonderful world. Be safe. Shalom from Jerusalem, and please God, we'll talk again next Monday here on the Land of Israel Network at thelandofisrael.com.
The mind of man is capable of anything, says Joseph Conrad, because everything is in it, all the past, as well as the future. Well, I wouldn't say that I'm capable of anything, but I would say that I'm filled with the past and longing to see the future, because I'm Rav Mike Foyer, and this is the Jewish Story.
Join Rav Mike Foyer for the best Jewish history podcast, The Jewish Story, on the Land of Israel Network at the